Hey everyone, welcome to the workshop, and today we're going to be working on this, which is a Colonial Viper helmet from the original series of Battlestar Galactica. So, let's go! Now, just a little backstory. I recently got into watching the original Battlestar Galactica from 1978. I'd never seen it before. I've never seen any Battlestar Galactica before. It is... If you're a Star Wars fan, or especially of the original trilogy, I think you will love it. It is kind of like a mashup between Star Wars, Star Trek, and Doctor Who, something like that. I love it, and I instantly fell in love with the designs, and I jumped on Facebook and joined a Battlestar Galactica cosplay group. I find Facebook is really good for this type of group if you want to join a community and get involved. It often has quite a lot of people who know a lot of things in these Facebook groups. I know you can probably join things like Discord servers as well, that kind of thing. But I highly recommend it if you want to sort of dive into a fandom. And in that group, I saw that someone was selling this resin kit of a Colonial Viper helmet. I actually got it for a really, really good price, even though I had to get it shipped from America to the UK. I paid a really good price for it, and I'm really happy with it. Unfortunately, that also means I can't give you a link to where I got this because it is secondhand, as it were. But there are makers of these helmet kits online, which you can find on eBay and Etsy. Like I said, this one was a very good price, and I'm very happy with the quality of it. It is a very solid helmet. Like I say, it's cast, not 3D printed, and it's been fiberglassed on the inside already. I don't know if that was the original maker or the previous owner, but that also gives it an extra layer of strength on the inside, which I really like. It also came with the different greeblies, which is the helmet crest, and also the piece that goes in front of the mouth and by the side of the face. The only thing that it doesn't have is the lighting system, which I'm going to have to figure out. That should be fun. But with the helmet as it is, I've already given it a quick sand. It was in a bit more rough shape than this, and I've just knocked it back with a sanding sponge. I'm hoping that it'll be actually quite a quick do-up, and we can just really focus on the paint job. We don't have to do much smoothing or filling at all. I've done a little bit already, as I said. I'm hoping this will just be a nice simple paint-up project, and then we'll just figure out a way to do all the lights and make it look like how it does in the show. Now that I've given this a quick sand, my first job is to go and give it a layer of primer, and we'll see where we're at. So the first thing I did was give it a coat of primer with this new primer that I found from Amazon. This one's actually a really good price, and I'll leave a link to it down below. But I found it just goes on really well, and it's a really, really just solid grey primer. Now, of course, between these primer coats, we have to do a lot of sanding, and I tried to work my way progressively up the sanding grits so that we get a smoother and smoother surface as we go. But it was really good to do multiple passes of this and just to keep sanding until I got the best result that I could from the helmet. Of course, I not only had to prime the helmet, but I had to prime the greeblies as well, so I was sure to do those as I went, so I kept them up with the same level as the helmet. That is the bird crest, and then the pieces we'll call the mouthpiece and the ear pieces. Now, I didn't want to just glue on the bird crest because I thought that would be not so secure in a way of doing it, so I ended up marking out where I wanted to put this. Once I figured out the center of the helmet, I marked where I wanted the crest to go, based on the reference of course, and then drilled a hole. Now, I wanted to attach this with a Chicago screw. It is essentially a threaded post with two ends on it. So I glued one into the crest itself, and then we could just bolt it from the other side. This gives a great mechanical connection that will aid in our glue up later on. Now, this helmet did actually go as I had hoped, and it was rather simple to get it ready for paint. We had no sort of 3D printing lines and stuff to fill in because it was already so smooth. So I could go on to the final paint job. Now, with this helmet, it's mostly a tan and a black. The black portion just goes on the front facing piece of the helmet, so I decided to do this first, which I did with a gloss black, which I just had in stock. In retrospect, I don't know if this is really the best way to do this because it would have worked either way if I'd done the tan color first or the black color, but seeing as I did the black first, we had to then mask it up to paint the tan color. Now, there wasn't a whole lot of reference for this helmet as to what color it actually is. I managed to find a few things on the RPF and around as to what people have used to paint these and what is the correct color. I ended up going with the Tamiya spray paint, which is great for this kind of work, and the color was light sand. And from what I can see, it's actually really close to the ones in the show. Definitely that late 70s, early 80s vibe. As you can see, these cans are actually quite small, and this can was just enough to give enough coverage on this helmet to do the whole helmet. If you want to do more than one coat, you'll have to buy more than one can, I think, because it was very, very close to being the end of the can. Then came the satisfying job of peeling away all that masking tape to reveal how well I did in fact mask off the black portion of this. It actually went pretty well. We always have a few areas that are not perfect, that need touching up, and that was fine, and I just went in with a brush and painted the extra bits that needed covering with black. I also kind of forgot that the black lines continue along the edge of the helmet, which I did actually just paint in later. I gave everything a quick clear coat to seal in that paint job before we moved on to the weathering. But before we weather, we need to paint up the crest. Now the crest in the show, it's hard to tell, it kind of looks like a bronzy goldy colour, so I ended up doing a copper base coat with a rattle can, and then did a coat of Dirty Down, my new favourite weathering paint. This stuff's really great. Once you spray it on, you can just take it off with water, so you can really adjust the effect that you get, but it gives a very good, quick, dirty effect, as the name suggests, to your pieces. Once that was on, I also sealed all that in because I didn't want any of the paints that I was going to add to reactivate that Dirty Down spray. To bring this up to a gold finish, first I actually went in with a green. Yeah, green, I know. The first colour was a dark green, which I put over the whole thing just to bring down the warm tones of the copper. I then went in with a matte turquoise to give a verdigris effect. This paint's actually called verdigris, and it's so good at giving this aged metal look. But I did a whole coat of that over the whole thing as well. You can see we're building up the layers. It's not just painting one color solidly. We kind of work it and mottle it and really work those colors to make it look natural. Also for this, I'm using a mix of paintbrushes and sponges. The sponges give a really good effect on this, especially when doing the greens, just because it gives that really natural mottled effect, and you don't want any brush strokes in it, of course. And then for the gold, I lightly went in over the top, just working it, not pushing it too deep into the crevices, letting that green and all the muck show through from underneath. I then made sure to just kiss all the edges with the brightest highlights of gold, and that really makes the edges of this pop and makes it look more like metal. This of course could then be permanently attached, which I did by using that Chicago screw we put in earlier, and just a little touch of super glue where the crest itself touched the helmet. As I mentioned when I painted the black just now, I forgot that the black lines continued down the back of the helmet, so I just masked them up and then used a black acrylic just to paint them in. This was much easier than trying to freehand them and paint them by hand. I just had that tape as a security blanket to make sure that it all went on right. Once this was done, I was able to go in and weather the helmet. This is just done with black and brown acrylics. I've done it loads of times and I've got loads of videos on how you do this with different props and projects. So do go and check out the channel if you want to see more in-depth weathering videos. But it's just adding blacks and browns strategically into the crevices, wiping the excess away, and we just build up a bit of dirt and grime to make it look like it's been used in world. And once all that was done, I gave it a semi-gloss clear coat just to seal in everything and protect everything. And oh boy, does it look good. The last job was to add the dreaded lights. Now, I found these strip lights available on Amazon. They are a warm yellow light which matches the reference from the show, and I found a set that were battery powered, which is what we want. They also have a remote control, which is very, very cool. Now these strips you can cut to length, but if you cut them, you can also rejoin them. So I jerry-rigged them into the helmet to fit around the curve of the helmet, and then I had to solder wires to join the top and the bottom. It was a little tricky, but didn't take any more than like an hour or so to get it all in place. The LEDs are in fact covered by a sort of clear plastic thing. Now, without getting too into it, I didn't want to dive into casting clear plastics and doing all that, so I actually bought some clear thermoplastic. This stuff you just heat up and you're able to mold it like clay. All I did was heat up a bunch of it and then roll some long sausages and then place these in the helmet to mold them to the right shape, and we had a very quick and easy clear plastic cover to the LEDs. And with that, the helmet is done, so let's see those glamour shots. So there we go, guys, that is the Colonial Viper helmet all finished. I am very happy with it, and of course, wait a minute, hey, it lights up on a remote control, which I think is amazing. Oh, I'm so happy with that. Look at that. We have disco mode and stuff as well. Hey. As I said, I'm super happy with this, and I think it looks really cool. I think it really looks the part. We didn't really break the bank doing all the lights and stuff. That all worked out really well. I forgot to mention that we just added these earpieces and the mouthpiece. They're just super glued in place, and they look the part as well. Everything looks really great, I think. I do hope you enjoyed following along with this video. Of course, this one's a little bit different as we ventured into a different franchise that I'd never done before, which is Battlestar Galactica. But yeah, I think these are really cool looking props, and yeah, definitely recommend checking it out if you're a fan of at least the OG Star Wars stuff. I think you'll really like it. Do remember to like and subscribe, and of course I will see you guys in the next video. And until then, take care. Bye bye. Now, this helmet is a bit tight for me, but of course, let's try it on. No. Eesh. These are a really weird shape at the front. It's really narrow. Ah, I've got a big head. Oi. Woo. Oh. This guy is not comfy on me at all.